Hello, Evanston Democrats. Thank you so much for your invitation and considering me for endorsement. My name is Awisi Bustos. I am a first-generation Ghanaian American who is running for the United States Senate. I live in Springfield, Illinois, and let me tell you a little bit about what inspires me. First of all, my father, who is my North Star, I grew up under his influence, a diplomat and a public servant, an exemplary public servant, who instilled in me the values of treating people with dignity and respect, of rolling up your sleeves and helping community and doing whatever you can to brighten the corner where you are. And so that leads me to my reasons for throwing my hat in this race. This is not something that just happened overnight. It's been a lifelong journey to put as many toolboxes and experiences in my toolbox in order to be able to be of greatest service to the people of the state. And Obama was one of my greatest inspirations. Like me, he is of African descent. He has a very similar history, and just watching him go forth and rise was such an affirmation of what was possible for me, and also an affirmation of my lifelong mission of doing what my father has done throughout the continent of Africa and Ghana, but as a United States citizen, bridging the gap and serving people in the state of Illinois with distinction. So I would go ahead and answer some of the questions for you, and looking forward to getting to know you all when I visit your town. So the first question is, would you favor refusing to approve any additional judiciary nominations from the current administration, since they have appointed so many of the current sitting judiciary already? My answer to this is simple. As a member of the legal and policy community who is clerked in a fellowship with an Illinois Supreme Court justice, I understand firsthand the importance of the judiciary branch and the importance of having impartial justices who are beholden to the Constitution and the rule of law. As such, I would refrain from blanketly refusing approvals of recommendations without thoroughly evaluating their merits, because that alone defeats the entire purpose of the American judiciary process and jurisprudence, and also the checks and balances that are in place for separating the separation between the branches. I would rather look at examining and investigating their legal track record for integrity, their temperament, and years of experience. I would additionally look to the ABA for guidance on their current legislation as part of my analysis, and other notable organizations like the ACLU, the Legal Defense Fund, and other credible legal advocacy groups. Ultimately, I would work with my fellow senators on what's the best and most favorable outcome, not only for the state of Illinois, but for the entire country, and take whatever action or positions that are critical to protecting and preserving civil and individual liberties and rights, and ensuring that the country is back on a track record of adhering to its historical precedents of serving people, a government by the people, for the people. So the second question on the list is, do you favor guaranteed minimum monthly income? As a human services and nonprofit executive who has worked at every level of the state and federal government in a statewide capacity, I have seen the firsthand advantages of policies and social benefits of programs like these that guarantee stability and safety nets for members of society who need them the most. I would support any evidence-based bipartisan avenue that alleviates these burdens, because the entire purpose of government, in my view, is to help people and allow all members of any given society to live a life of dignity, unencumbered by financial limitations. And that's exactly why I'm running for office, to serve you. The third question is, what committees' assignments would you seek that would reflect your strengths and the interests of the residents of the state of Illinois? As someone who is passionate about these issues, I would focus on agriculture, nutrition, and forestry, and commerce and the environment committees, due to how critical they are to the vitality and economic stability and sustainability of the people of Illinois and the farmers. As a downstate Illinoisan who has worked and lived throughout the state from Cook County, throughout Rock Island, and across Illinois, agriculture, farming is essential to the economic health and vitality of the state. And therefore, those would be the committees that I would prioritize, especially in my capacity as the executive director of the Illinois Alliance of Boys and Girls Clubs, and being someone who has served at the Center of Social Services and Infrastructures for Human Services. The Democratic Party nominee lost 6 million votes in the presidential election between 2020 and 2024. How do you propose getting those Dems back and engaged and voting for the Democratic nominee in 2028? First of all, the most important thing is to educate your voters, right? That's part of this entire process. And so that would be what the priority should be. The education of Dem voters who flipped 21% of the GOP held seats in November of 2025, and analyze those wins, because that is clearly an indication of what the party should be doing. The party should also be encouraged to enact policies that ensure that all candidates and all voices are heard on the ballot and not just the few, because it allows for voters and constituents who have to have the best options. And that is clearly what we can see in the evidence of the kind of candidates that have been winning seats against establishment candidates. There is a track record or leaning towards refusing APAC funding and also funding from corporate donors. And so ensuring that all these voices are available as options for ultimately our bosses, the people of Illinois, to make the choice that's best for them. How can Democratic elected officials develop policies, processes, and plans to tangibly resist the abuse by the Trump administration of the most vulnerable persons in Evanston community? Locally, Evanston's Welcome in City Ordinance is a very solid example of tangible legal actions. Senators can coordinate political and legal efforts with state and national allies, and I will have community meetings to educate voters on the resources and continue in this trajectory. Work on bipartisan relationships, coordinate with ACLU and other attorneys, leverage legal avenues, and not wait for crisis to occur before acting, but enacting plans that are forward-thinking and strategic in ensuring that we are securing what leverages and advantages we have, while strategically planning for ways to mitigate any offenses that may come our way, that and protecting the people of Illinois and the entire country. Craft and support legislation by other senators who are like-minded in order to work collaboratively. So thank you so much for your support and for the opportunity to share a little bit about myself, about my journey and what drives me. And I am very much looking forward to being with you all in person. Have a great day.